thanks for everyone for coming out. What an honor, particularly given the criteria for selecting winners here. We feel very proud of what we've done at SESME. The company's been around for 4 years, and we started the company with a very simple idea in mind, that TV was going to change dramatically, and the only way to win and be a real player was to really go big or go home, was our thinking. So we actually, when we put the strategy for the company together, we had to really understand not only the technology, but the content industry. And our partners, it would be distribution partners like telcos, and even advertisers. And weave together a business model that applied leverage. We went in and tried to figure out pain points for really 5 different market segments, and then align those industries behind rolling out a new TV service. Because we're not taking on a widget company, we're taking on Comcast, DirecTV. We're going straight to the heart of the TV industry, and that's really our goal. So if you can bring up the SESME slides, I'll give you just a few backgrounders. When we looked at the opportunity, it was this, the $185 billion and growing, depending on which segment you're looking at, maybe starting to decline, the TV market. And we looked at the industry and said, look, this is ripe for change. And just by way of background, I was the first person to sell music on the internet. Back in 1995, I figured out that, hey, technology was going to converge in such a way that friction between musicians and consumers would go away. Started a company called Liquid Audio that really figured out how to create all the technologies to sell music online. And I lived through that transition and saw TV going down a similar path. Now, clearly different setting with the content companies, and I think a greater awareness of what could happen looking at the music industry. But nonetheless, it starts with the consumer. And the consumers are not happy, and they're changing very quickly. And this is the prize. It's not just the emerging digital business that's online or through a web browser, or even just on an iPad. It's the core TV business. If you go to the next slide, you can see what we created was what we call a personal TV system. And it has everything in it. Live cable channels, on-demand, movies, TV shows, and increasingly, content that's available free online or ad-supported. And we built the entire system to pull that content in, organize it, the end-user devices. All of that is what we've created over the last 4 years. And that has given us a unique advantage to move very quickly, not only domestically, but as we had indicated earlier, going globally. Because we control all of the pieces of the system, and that gives us really a lot of power. And that strategy was informed by, again, when I lived in the music space. If you go to the next slide, what we saw in the top line here is a transition of an industry. It started on the top left with that red splat, where consumers were fed up. They were changing. And they started experimenting with new things like Napster, like Liquid Audio, and others. But even after Napster had come and gone and Kazaa was on the rise, the digital portion of the music industry was very small. It's maybe 4% of the overall music business. So it really didn't take off because it was too difficult for the average consumer. It could not go mainstream. And we know what happened there. Apple came along, they took the hardware, the software, the service, and made it really simple to take advantage of all of this digital content for the mainstream consumer. That was our driving thesis at SESME. And we saw a lot of new boxes, and look at a Google TV, look at an Apple TV. They're there, but if you, just as an example, just to pick on somebody, look at the Google TV box that's coming in. You have to take that box and put it on top of your cable box, take the video out, put it into that, take an infrared blaster, put it around, maybe 4 remotes later and 5 connections, you've got something. That's not going to go mainstream. Now, not to say Google's not going to get there with their platform on other devices, but we looked at the market and said, if we can take everything that's available that a consumer wants on a TV and put it in one product that they can go to a Best Buy, which is where we sell it in LA, take that home and set it up in 30 minutes, that's a game changer. Because now we're going into an entire industry, the TV industry, we're turning into a self-installed consumer electronics type industry, and the value proposition is really simple. It's your TV, you pay us a monthly fee, in this case $19 a month, and you get live cable channels, free on demand, access to 20,000 on-demand TV shows and movies. So it's a really simple value proposition. When we looked at the business, we did a lot of analysis of what I not so kindly call the roadkill of TV boxes. But if you look at Kimbo, and I would even put TiVo in this category, of companies that tried to put a box on the shelf and sell an add-on, it's really tough. And it's capital intensive. You can't fund that and get to market with it. So we really focused on mainstream consumers when we built the business. If you go to the next slide. And you can see, this was an article that came out in Business Week I think it was last month actually, lined up the next wave of TV services and boxes and technologies. And we're in there with great company, Apple, and Google wasn't announced yet at this point, PlayStation, Netflix. Of all of these companies, we're the only one that can sell you live cable television that would be a replacement for cable and satellite. Everyone's picking away at the edges, but no one else has gone in and said, I'm just going to go take the business straight on. And we think that's a huge advantage, not only in terms of our ability to execute, but also to make it really easy to sell this to consumers. It's obvious why you would want it. It's your TV service for half the price. And that's really a key theme, I think, in any new company. You have to focus in on your consumer. You have to make sure you have a value proposition that you can understand without 6 pages of PowerPoint. So if you go to the next slide. The reason we can do this is we built a different network. We built a hybrid network. Because we recognized early on that doing all of this purely over an internet connection would not be feasible in the near term. And there were economic reasons. It still costs money to send video over the internet, unless you're Google and you can subsidize everybody else doing it. And also, just from a rights perspective, you can't get all of the content you need to deliver over the open internet. That's changing, but we wanted a first mover advantage, and we got it. And the reason we have companies like Turner, Discovery, NBC, cable networks all behind us, because we built a network that works with their current business. And this came up earlier in the intro, where when you're looking at a content-based business, you better understand that you're going in to partner with the content companies. You need to help them. In this case, we're helping them take their traditional model and expand it to include digital without breaking their deals with existing distribution partners like Comcast and others. So this was really a key enabler for our business to create a new network. So if you go to the next slide, I'll wrap it up. This just highlights the offering. You can go online and check it out. But it's subscription, on-demand, and free ad-supported broadband. We actually have user buttons on the remote control. So when each member of the family turns on the TV, we can target content and advertising to them. And that lets us drive more free content onto the platform than we could without that capability. And it's also a better user experience. So to just wrap it up, we'll roll a little video that summarizes the key value proposition points to give you a sense of how we message out to consumers.
says may, we can hold us accountable for the